And then we get the return proper of the fiddle and a twangy guitar. Now, together, these two instruments blend really well, and they're almost like a shorthand for that sort of maudlin country adjacent sound that you get. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John, his name's Andy. Here we go. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, let me rock you, Shaka Khan. Let me rock you, that's all I want to do. Shaka Khan, let me rock you, Shaka Khan. Let me rock you, because I feel for you. Shaka Khan, won't you tell me what you want to do? Do you feel for me the way I feel for you? Shaka Khan, let me tell you what I want to do. I want to love you. I want to hug you. I want to squeeze you too. Let me take you in my arms. Let me fill you with my charm, Shaka. Keep you warm, Shaka. Make you more than just a physical dream. I want to rock you, Shaka, baby, because you make me want to scream. But first, we have music to listen to. Andy, what have you got for the class?
Well, let me recover from that a moment. What I have for us, we are going to be revisiting a band that we've listened to in the past on this channel. In fact, on the posting of that video in the comments field, Tin Tuki, a regular here at the channel, jumped in and had another recommendation by this band that he said he had offered up in the past, and I acknowledged that and let him know that that song was actually on my list for the second go round with this band for some time in the future, and that time has come. So we're going to be revisiting Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos. Broad Ripple is Burning is the track that we did by them. Yes. Okay.
Yes, still a terrible name for a band.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better, John. They've stuck with that name. That's theirs. It's codified. But the track that I want you to listen to is off their first album, and the track is called Skeleton Key.
Okay.
Yeah. So go off, give a listen. Let me know what you think.
Jawohl, mein Kapitän. I like that start, the way the static phased into a beat and then the sort of rhythmic muted acoustic. Yeah, really good. And then fiddles. I think we're into sort of old folk territory here. Let's see how it goes.
I did a sick, sick thing to my love. My lack of loyalty had swallowed her up, and she cooked me food. She squirmed and turned like a skeleton key. She left her man and attended to me, and don't call me.
Okay, so we've got different elements here. We have that acoustic and the fiddle, and then this twanging guitar sounds really nice, and the fiddle and the twangy guitar together sound really, really good. Has that sort of maudlin feel to it. And then that drops out, so again it's the acoustic, and then we get, I think it was like a keyboardy sound that was quite, say childlike, but you know what I mean? It's very simplistic, sort of nursery rhymey type sound. So getting these elements that keep moving, and then the guitar twanger came back in, and so they're shifting around bits and pieces and layering it. Interesting. Like just a touch.
She left her man and attended to me. And don't call me that. Don't claim you love me, 'cause you know that ain't true. My dire affliction I'll attribute to you. And you're finally free to twist and turn like a skeleton key. You've
Guitar.
gotta let me know. You've gotta let me know. I did a horrible thing to that girl. I bred my misery and drowned it in her. And she got me high. And I
So they're just doing it there. They did like couple of couplets in one sort of style. That percussion there sounded quite, I don't want to say cheap, but it sort of wasn't nice. And then into a different percussion for a couple of lines as well. And then it's gone back into sort of the full band sound for this lot. So they keep changing it every 10, 20 seconds or so. Okay.
finally noticed there were tears in her eyes. And I miss you less and less every day. And it's true the whiskey's helped to wash you away. And it's clear to see you're nothing special, you're a skeleton key. You've gotta let me know. You've gotta let me know. You've gotta let me know. You've gotta let me know.
Woo! Aside, they keep messing around with the percussion, and some of it. There's one bit there. It sounded like this full hi hat with this cymbal stuff. It sounded a bit almost like Phil Spector, just whacking it in and it's really ramped up. It again didn't sound great to me. The core of the song, the guy's got a lovely voice. The guitar's great with the fiddle as well. That core of the song's really nice. And then they keep trying to change it every 10, 20 seconds. I don't know why. Whether it's to keep it interesting, lack of confidence in what they're doing. The guys producing it used to work for TikTok. I don't know. But for me, there's constant changing the sound. It just seems like there's no real thought behind it. What's it doing? That's just changing for changing's sake each time. It's a different sound. In such a short space of time. Yes, that's not doing it for me. The core of the song is, but the other nonsense. Yeah. Yeah, interesting ending there. I think the keyboard was getting paid by the minute. Wanted a bit of overtime. Strange sort of sonic, almost sort of radar-ish blips until the end. Yeah, the song itself was pretty pleasant. I just didn't like the choices they made where they kept pissing about. That's just me. Let's find out some more about this by going back and speaking with Andy.
All right, welcome back. So, what say you about your second venture with Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos?
Okie dokie. So, song starts with this static interference kind of opening, which then begins to sort of ripple and then phase into a beat, which is taken up by this sort of rhythmic, muted, strumming acoustic guitar. I really like that. It's a really inventive start, and I think it worked really, really well. The static fades to be replaced by a fiddle and a twanging electric guitar. Your man starts singing. I did a sick thing, my love. But this now it's just the acoustic guitar and a really nice bass drum. It's just kicking away. The fiddle mutters in the background, sort of there's like a half a phrase. But the next line has some chiming sort of keyboard work that almost sounds like glockenspiel. Couple of lines afterwards as dual vocals. She cooks me food. And then we get the return proper of the fiddle and a twangy guitar. Now together, these two instruments blend really well, and they're almost like a shorthand for that sort of maudlin country adjacent sound that you get that just, says everything that, there's trouble at mill and all that sort of stuff. And it's usually, man and a woman trouble, whatever. So I have to say for the next minute and a half, the musical motifs come and go. Fair rapidity, like shuffling a deck of cards. The keys come back, and they have a nursery rhyme sort of quality to them, quite sweet and childlike in the melody, and there's gently increased percussion behind them. The twangy guitar rings out at the chords at the end of phrases as well, and then we get this one vocal that I think it is, and just as I'm wondering if there's any significance to that line. But it doesn't happen again. It's gone forever, never to come back. I think there's another electric guitar aside from the acoustic and the twangy that sort of comes to picking. And then it goes into this two-step sort of strum, which is really nice. The music is really layered at this point as he sings twist and turn like a skeleton key. And then we get this half-beat pause at the words, "You gotta let me know," which I think is kind of like a mini refrain because he obviously repeats it loads at the end. And the percussion changes up again into these synthetic sounding beats that are almost like hand claps, but very, I wasn't too unkind, but they're not great sounding, but they have like a 1-1-1-2-1 sort of rhythm to them. Yeah, there's a kind of like an echoey, plasticky feel to this section. It's really odd. It repeats itself over, and then there's a half beat change again. I did a horrible thing to that girl. This time we're getting stick heavy percussion with us real pensive sort of keyboard line for a couple of phrases, and then the guitar comes back in to that sort of recognizable overall sound that before. And we're over the midway point here, and I detected some female la-las as well, sort of very faintly dropping in. It drops out again to "I miss you less and less every day," and then the plastic, I'll call it the plastic clapping, returns underneath the guitar, thankfully for only 4 lines. The fiddle has finished sitting in the corner texting its mate and comes back in. This is where the song sounds best. That soulful fiddle and the ringing chords of the guitar together, and then we definitely get some strong la-las at the end of this phrase. So this is changing up like every 10 to 20 seconds. They're just altering it again and again and again. The music stops at the end of each repeated line, and there's a nice sort of strumming guitar, cue woo, and then having anything for a good 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe. And there's a nice final flourish where it slows down to a sort of ringing guitar chord. And then the keyboard player decides to haggle for some overtime pay as he kind of noodles this sonar radar sort of sounds to a fade out, which actually I quite liked.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why he stuck that in, but it's cool. For a first listen, I thought the ever-changing musical motifs made the first half of the song really patchy for me. And it is, I understand, probably for me. It's the equivalent of them flicking the TV channel about every 10 or 20 seconds. It would be a nightmare if they're in charge of the remote, I have to say. Things do settle down after, pretty much off about the halfway point. And I really, I really like the core of the song, especially the fiddle twang combo. He's got a great voice as well. But the percussion in particular is the thing they changed up the most. And at times, it did sound a bit sort of cheap and nasty to me. Yeah, I just didn't. One bit, it all sounded like crinkling paper. It was really odd. Another time, it sounded like. Anyway, I just didn't get why they kept changing that. It didn't seem musically to make any sense to me what they were trying to say. Yeah, so. I was surprised that I didn't get a few of the lyrics. They really, to me, were almost like placeholders as to, right, it's going to change here, then it's going to change here, then it's going to change here. But I felt in overall tone, and what I must have got through osmosis, is similar to the previous one where the narrator was a bit of a shit and treats the woman badly. And I'm guessing this is an ongoing thing. I thought it was really interesting the choice of skeleton key as the sort of main motif, because when you say the word skeleton key, it sounds like something's diminished, as in the skeleton or something, but actually it's the filing down of the teeth in the key to the user. So again, it's one of these duality things, and again, it's sort of it can be used everywhere in theory, which I don't know. Why they were saying that. Obviously, this relationship between him and her, it didn't sound like it was good. I didn't catch it all enough to make a judgment call on it. But overall, it's a decent song. Just those bits diminished my enjoyment.
Oh, interesting. Well, I kind of there are three versions of this that I was going to choose from. There was a live version, there was the remastered version, and then there's the original version. And I chose the original one because I know you're not one for too much production or too heavy-handed production, which I would say that the remastered version teeters on. So I went with this little rougher around the edges iteration for that very reason, but it seems maybe I should have chosen the remastered one where some of these things aren't as stark and evident and stand out as much as they did for you. But also the hand clapping thing in the live version, you get to see their sort of second percussionists play this instrument, which is really weird because it's almost like a loose tabletop that has fixed cymbals on it that he hits the tabletop with mallets, which then create this sort of clapping sound, this fabricated clapping sound. So it's fun to watch him play that live. But then I was like, he doesn't even like that sound. So why do I want him to see this interesting instrument that replicates a sound he's not even fond of? So I was like, let's just go with the original recording. So thanks for giving it.
It sounds like something that's really fun for the person doing it.
Yeah. And that's
you can just stand there and just do that. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to have this but that, I mean, I can get how that's attractive, that gadget. Yeah. And if you're on the mallets, you're having a whale of a time.
And the guy that's also what's fun about watching the live performance from Rolling Stone, because he's animated in his mouth and he's just a funny character. So anyway, so we've discussed this band before. Obviously, they're an American rock band from Indianapolis, Indiana. And between 2006 and 2014, the band released 6 full-length albums. And quick recap of that group, because this is an 8-person operation. We have Richard Edwards, songwriter, vocals, guitar, bells, synthesizer, melodica, banjo, and percussions. We have Andy Fry who's playing that kind of reverby bass or guitar line that runs through it. He is the guitarist. He also contributes bass, synthesizer, lap steel guitar, melodica, banjo as well, and also percussions. Tyler Watkins on bass, guitar, synthesizer. Emily Watkins on keyboards, electric Rhodes piano, synthesizer, and vocals. Chris Fry on drums and percussions. Casey Tennis on drums, Hubert Glover on trumpet, and Jesse Lee on cello and vocals. So this track, Skeleton Key, is featured on the band's first full-length album, The Dust of Retreat, which was released in 2005 through Standard Recording Company. It was remastered and re-released on April 26th, 2006 by Artemis Records. The style was described by Mackenzie Wilson as cinematic chamber pop that both the casual music fan and music perfectionist will enjoy. According to Spin.com's Elisa Rashbaum, their debut, The Dust of Retreat, is a chamber pop confection that makes occasional detours into modern rock. And she described this track, Skeleton Key, as a mini screenplay which unfolds into a romantic saga. Patrick Schaub of Pop Matters summed up the band's quick ascension quite well in this article reviewing their first album. He says, and bear with me, "It's all very impressive for a band that's only a few months past its first birthday. Coming together in early winter 2004 and playing its first live show in December of that year, Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos went from solo effort to a band plus collaborators to a full-fledged 8-piece band in a matter of months. Recorded a debut album before the band had even coalesced and was touring the country shortly thereafter. With little more than the first year behind them, but a whole lot of buzz in their wake, all of a sudden Margot gets inked to a big label deal, and everyone from CNN to AOL Music to MTV is talking about them. It's the indie rock American dream." And Schaub would then later say, when he's describing the band's sound and songwriting, the band is as much a quietude as it is about quietude as it is about energy, and its songs are intricately woven together into something much more familiar and cozy, in spite of the multitude of sounds used. And while the contributions of the songs feel collaborative, they're more controlled than spontaneous and center around the creative vision of songwriter Richard Edwards. Though Emily Watkins' Rhodes piano and synths or Jesse Lee's cello might grab the spotlight as an immediate focal point, it's the character of the songs that Edwards writes that gives Margot its winter chill, world-weary beauty, and sad-eyed romanticism. So, Preston Jones of Slant Magazine wrote of this album, "The Dust of Retreat and Margot and the Nuclear So-and-So's debut album is willfully unclassifiable, dense, literate, and ever so slightly frayed. The only dust that should surround this breathtaking debut is that of the crowds rushing to pick it up off the shelves." So, let me jump into these lyrics. "I did a sick, sick thing to my love. My lack of loyalty, it swallowed her up. And she cooked me food, and she squirmed and turned like a skeleton key. She left her man and attended to me. And don't call me that. Don't claim you love me, 'cause you know that ain't true. My dire affliction I'll attribute to you. And you're finally free to twist and turn like a skeleton key. You've got to let me know. You've got to let me know. I did a horrible thing to that girl. I bred my misery and drowned it in her. And she got me high, and I hardly noticed there were tears in her eyes. And I miss you less and less every day. This stream of whiskey's helped to wash you away. And it's clear to see you're nothing special. You're a skeleton key. You've got to let me know. You've got to let me know. You've got to let me know. You've got to let me know." So the key, sorry for the awful pun, in the lyrics is that last verse. Here it is in the complete lyrics of the verse, and it's clear to see you're nothing special. You're a skeleton key. The skeleton keys refer to keys that are capable of opening warded locks, or more generally any lock regardless of make or type, which you kind of alluded to when you were discussing your reaction to the song. They also tend to rattle, and when they don't catch, can spin rather freely within the lock. Keeping that in mind, the gist of the lyrics is pretty angsty reflection on how the narrator treated or mistreated the girl in question while they were in a relationship. In light of the retelling of their breakup, and especially from the second to the last verse, calling her a skeleton key, replaceable, generic, can be read as rather empty rationalization and a denial or rejection of what they shared as something special versus something convenient and less meaningful. the tried and true metaphor for the lock to one's heart. So I think that's why they chose that's why Edwards chose skeleton key as sort of the metaphor or symbol for the girl. So yeah, it's interesting because you often think of a skeleton key as something wildly important, because it can do all these different things. But I guess also if that's all you're meant to do is just replace what is supposed to be the honest key or the real key, you're just a generic substitute or a place filler in time, something that's convenient and not meant to be. I assume is the symbolism there. But interesting song. I really love the string work in this tune. His voice is fabulous. And I thought I'd bring it to the table and knock it off my list and our request list, because Tin wanted to listen to this one as well, though I have to admit it was on my list before Tin was of the same mind and suggested it. So I hope you like this one, Tin. I hope other folks out there in the listening audience like it as well. If you did enjoy it, please let us know down in the comments field, or if you didn't, whatever, let us know how you feel in the comments section. We love interacting with you guys and getting your opinion on all these different songs we bring to the table. Also, while we have your attention, please feel free to like, share, and or subscribe. If you haven't already, we're trying to grow the channel and can't do that without you, and we are ever so appreciative of it. And hopefully, John and I will see all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.